Hi, good evening, everybody. This is Bishwajit Datta, Director, Success Ed Education Services, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. This is a great time. All of us have worked hard for the last 365 days continuously for one single day, and that is Sunday. We are coming for Sunday. You have your exam on Sunday. All of us must have prepared absolutely very well for this exam, CLAT 2022. You are actually born for this. That's the reason why you are going to be the part of that war that you are fighting continuously for the last 365 days within your mind, within your heart. And I know that this is true, that you are going to make it. There are certain elements that all of us do talk before the exams, and we believe that there are certain common mistakes that people commit sometimes. And I have seen lot many students of mine sometimes coming and telling me, sir, mere se ye galtiyan ho gayi hai. To be very frank, all those mistakes that the students sometimes commit in the exams, we have accumulated all of them. And we realize that we should always tell the students who are going to write this exam, at least we should make them aware that these are certain common mistakes that people very commonly commit. So you must not to do all these things. We need to be little conscious. In our subconscious mind, we are absolutely free with this fact that we are prepared. We are prepared and we can do anything after this. We have prepared ourselves for lives. And we can crack this exam, no doubt, whatever that comes in our mind. We have no doubt at all. We are crystal clear with that. But then sometimes there are certain unexpected event that happens and we do not know. So all those things that I believe that as a student you are going to sometimes accidentally commit, so we need to be very careful before that. Number one, you know that you are supposed to fill an OMR. So when you look at a question, you solve that question and then you go and mark that in the OMR. If you make a mistake in terms of the numbering, for example, you have attempted question number 25 and because of some reason आपने 25 या 25th वाले गोले को mark ना करके आपने 24th या 26th पे कर दिया, which is a very common mistake. One time it happened with one of my student, Mayank Devangan. He was a topper, he had been working very hard, but during examination in the logical section, he committed that. So again, he repeated one complete year, then finally he went to Nalsar, Hyderabad. And this is one common mistake which every one of us sometime in the wake of calculations we commit. तो ध्यान रखें, यदि आपने क्वेश्चन नंबर 25 मार्क किया है, क्वेश्चन किया है, तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 25 पर ही मार्क होना चाहिए. And it is always recommended that as you do questions, so you mark the answers. Do not take too much of time gap in marking your answers. See, you know that this particular exam is now fighting on accuracy. Your selection is now going to be based on your accuracy. How accurate you are in your marking is going to make the selection. Now the numbers are not going to play too high in this situation. I know that everybody who has prepared for this exam for one complete year, तो वो अपने एक optimum level पर होगा, that I am 100% going to make 120 attempt or I am going to make 130 attempt. तो हर स्टूडेंट का अपना एक अटेम्प्ट कितना होना चाहिए वो उसने कर लिया होगा, ठीक है. सो ऑब्वियसली यू आर गोइंग टू मेक दोस क्वेश्चंस टू बी फाइनली अटेम्प्टिंग इन द पेपर. तो जब भी आप अटेम्प्ट करेंगे, solving the question and attempting on the OMR sheet has to be simultaneously. Please do not make too much of gap in putting those answers on the OMR. Otherwise, you may make such kind of mistakes which just I told you. Now, when it comes to the number of attempts, you know very well that this is the real element that is going to matter. As the number of attempts depends on the student, that if you have been preparing for a year and 120 is a normal attempt, 120 is a very fair attempt, but then it depends upon the level of the paper. If the paper is very tough, then the whole competition is going to be, fought only on one single element, and that is accuracy. Somebody who is at a better accuracy is going to get a college. तो यदि पेपर बहुत टफ आ जाता है, which you believe that sir the passages are beyond 450 words, यदि 450 वर्ड्स या 350 to 450 वर्ड्स आपने प्रिपेयर किया है एक पर्टिकुलर पैसेज में, और यदि वो उसमें से 25 वर्ड भी एक्स्ट्रा हो जाता है तो डेफिनेटली पेपर बड़ा हो जाता है. एंड दैट स्मॉल चेंज पुट टुगेदर मेक्स लॉट ऑफ चेंज. तो जैसा कि हमने प्रिपेयर किया, ऑल्दो वी हैव डन लॉट ऑफ पैसेजेस विद इन द रेंज ऑफ 350 to 450 वर्ड्स. We have a particular range that we have covered. So within that range, 120 attempt is a very good attempt. Believing the fact that you are going to make at least 80-85% of accuracy. Now the level of accuracy also depends upon the number of questions. So if you are attempting 135 questions, for an example, 90% of the paper. So maybe keeping 85 or 80% of accuracy or 75% of accuracy would be enough to get a college in this particular exam. But if you are attempting at a lower side, for example 105, 110, then we need to have at least 90% of the accuracy, right? So within the range of 75% of accuracy to 85% of accuracy may work depending upon the number of attempts. So if you have done 140 questions all done and you have gone for 75% of accuracy, definitely it is going to work. तो याद रखिए, यदि आपने बहुत ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट किया है तो आपकी एक्यूरेसी भी 75 के नीचे नहीं होना चाहिए, गड़बड़ हो जाता है, राइट? यू मे लूज मार्क्स, यू मे गेट लेस मार्क्स इफ योर एक्यूरेसी गेट डिस्टर्ब्ड. So in a range of 120, 125, 130 questions of attempt with a high level of accuracy is going to give you a better result. So the best part of this exam is that try to keep the accuracy at a higher level, attempting within a range of 120, 125, 130 is very fair attempt. So within that 80% of accuracy will definitely work, and which I believe that most of these students at this point of time when have planned for an exam called CLAT surely have achieved that accuracy level. There are some people who may not have achieved that level of marking the questions, may not have gone to a level of 130 attempt. So even if you are marking an attempt of 110, try to keep your accuracy high. And at least pray that the paper is coming little beyond than that of the normal paper, because in that case everybody converges to a similar kind of performance, and in that case the accuracy is going to matter finally. तो यदि थोड़ा सा पेपर टफ होता है, थोड़ा सा पेपर स्टैंडर्ड आता है, तो सभी लोगों की परफॉर्मेंस लगभग कन्वर्ज होकर सिंगल जगह पर जाके फोकस होती है. उस समय स्टूडेंट्स के एक्यूरेसी बहुत मैटर करेगा. जिसकी एक्यूरेसी जितनी अच्छी होगी उसको उतने अच्छे मार्क्स मिलेंगे. I mean उसके स्कोर उतने अच्छे आएंगे, and it would be easy for such people to get a college in this particular exam. So these two elements are very important when you mark your OMR. You need to be very focused at this point of time, that if I have done a particular question, I have to mark that answer right at that moment simultaneously. And second, try to keep your attempt fairly somewhere in between 120 to 130. That is going to be very good. Keeping an 80%, 78 to 80% of accuracy will definitely work. So this is one element that I'm sure that you must have seen over the period of time when you were writing those mock test papers, analyzing your scores, working for yourself and so on. Try to reach the examination center at least before time. I would say that is majorly going to make a lot of difference, because you need to take rest before entering into the time examination hall. Try to follow whatever instructions that are given in that the admit card. Try to find out every possible things that are required to present with in the examination hall. Keep everything prepared one day before the exam, so that you should not be working hard or trying here and there in the 11th hour of your preparation. ऐसा होना नहीं चाहिए. So be ready with that, all that stuff. एक चीज मैं और देखता हूँ, whenever स्टूडेंट जब पेपर देने के लिए जाते हैं उनको ये लगता है कि मेरा होगा कि नहीं होगा. दे आर इन ए सिचुएशन, दे ट्राई टू फील कि अरे पता नहीं होगा कि नहीं होगा. किसी दूसरे का यदि उसने एग्जामिनेशन हॉल के अंदर दिया, हॉल के पहले एग्जाम जाने से पहले यदि आप किसी को पढ़ते हुए देख लेते तो और ज़्यादा आपको एंजाइटी हो जाती है. सो यू ट्राई टू अवॉइड ऑल सच थिंग्स. डोंट ट्राई टू ब्रिंग एनी काइंड ऑफ एप्रहेंशंस. in your mind because you played well. I believe every one of us must have played well according to our stamina, according to our strength and caliber, and we all have done that. So आखिरी moment where we have to give ourselves only one single element, and that is the faith of performance. So try to give yourself the faith of performance that whatever the paper that would come to me, I would attempt the paper from first to the last in that 22 hours of time. I know there are times when you expect something but the paper comes out to be a little different. And all of a sudden, the pattern of writing paper, the workings pattern of the mind, the set pattern that we have prepared for the last 1 year goes completely out of track. Because you haven't seen the next moment of your life. You do not know what is going to happen next day. So all I'm saying, whatever the paper is, whether it is an easy paper or it's a medium paper or it's a tough paper, whatever the paper is, just be with that paper for the next 2 hours of your time. Think about that paper, that this is my life and this is what I wanted in my life and this is what I'm going to make it. And this particular paper is everything for me for the next 2 hours, and I'm going to make it for the next 2 hours of my time. मैं इसको नहीं छोड़ने वाला. So try to give your best, and that is only possible when you keep faith in yourself. So make your mind prepare with this idea that whatever the level of the paper is, doesn't matter. I will give my best. I will give my mind, my heart, my soul, everything to that paper for the next 2 hours of time. I'll be in that situation. I'll handle it. मेरे मन में, मेरे दिमाग में कोई apprehension नहीं आना चाहिए. Working with that paper for the next 2 hours, 120 minutes. ये नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा? मेरे को ये कॉलेज मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा? मेरा ये सोचा था, अब ये नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा? Do not bring any such kind of apprehensions, doubt, whatever. You need to only be with the paper. That's all. Whether you win or you lose doesn't matter. All you need to be with that paper, because that is your friend, that is your partner, that is everything for you within that 2 hours of time. So that paper which you do not have seen, which you have not seen in your life, somewhere it has been kept in the horizon, and you are going to meet with that paper. And that you're going to see on Sunday. Keep this faith in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, that this paper has been made for me. And this paper is the certificate of my journey, that I had a great tour for the last 1 year competing with myself. We never ask people to compete with the entire world. The fight always goes within. It remains within. It is fought within. Keep that fight being fighting in the examination hall, keeping that paper in hand, thinking that this is what I was actually made for. This is my paper, and this paper is going to decide my destiny, my life, my career, and everything that I'm thinking to achieve for the next few years to come. This paper is the key to that locker, and I'm going to grab it. No matter what the outcome is, I'm going to do this paper right now at this point of time. Keep that thing in your mind. हम लाइफ में बहुत एग्जाम्स लिखेंगे. ये कोई पहला एग्जाम नहीं है जो आप लिखते जा रहे हो. There may be people who are writing for the very first time the similar kind of competitive exams. But I'm 100% sure आपने अपने स्कूल के बोर्ड एग्जाम्स में, अपने स्कूल के कॉम्पिटिशन्स में, हमेशा जब भी किसी एक्ट में आपने पार्टिसिपेट किया, यू हैड अ ऑनेस्ट बिलीव इन गिविंग योर बेस्ट टू दैट. वही चीज़ आपको संडे को देना है. दैट्स ऑल. विदाउट थिंकिंग द रिजल्ट ऑफ द पेपर, विदाउट थिंकिंग एनीथिंग, यू एंड योर पेपर. दैट्स इट. लाइफ में और मौके आएंगे, लाइफ में और अपॉर्चुनिटीज आएंगी, दैट यू वुड बी टेस्टिंग योर सेल्फ, टेस्टिंग योर एंडेवर, राइटिंग विद द पेपर. दुनिया में सबसे टफ जॉब पता है क्या होता है? एग्जाम लिखना. आई नो दैट सब लोग ये बोलते हैं कि यार आप ये करना, आप वो करना, आप ऐसे करना, आप ऐसे करना. मैं सच में बता रहा हूँ, यू रिमेन विथ योर सेल्फ वेन यू रिमेन अलोन इन लाइफ. आप अपने साथ में तब होते हो जब आप एकदम अकेले होते हो. और पता है एग्जामिनेशन के हॉल में भी आपको ऐसी फीलिंग आएगा, बिकॉज एवरीबडी वुड बी साइलेंटली राइटिंग देयर पेपर and you would be sitting alone with yourself writing paper. So what I'm saying, that you remain with you only when you remain alone, and that makes a difference, and that makes those elements to get discovered within that moment, and that is nothing but faith. You have to bring that faith within that 2 hours of time, which I believe that you are going to make it, and that would revive everything, that would make everything done within that time. लाइफ नॉर्मल भी होती है और अबनॉर्मल भी होती है, लाइफ नेचुरल भी होती है और अननेचुरल भी होती है. जो नेचुरल होती है दोज आर वेरी एक्सपेक्टेड इन लाइफ, हमें पता होता है दिस इज वेरी नेचुरली होता है, मेरे साथ हो रहा है, इनके साथ हो रहा है, इनके साथ होगा, इनके साथ होगा. जो चीज़ एबनॉर्मल है, जो हम एक्सपेक्ट नहीं करते हैं और हमारे साथ में अकस्मात तरीके से सडनली हमारे साथ हो जाता है, वी कॉल इट एज एबनॉर्मल. तो वी नीड टू बी प्रिपेयर फॉर ऑल दोज एबनॉर्मलिटीज. एबनॉर्मलिटीज का मतलब कतई ये ना निकाले दैट समथिंग नेगेटिव इज गोइंग टू हैपन. नो, नॉट एट ऑल. ऑल आई एम सेइंग दैट एज ए ह्यूमन बीइंग you would be circumscribed with every situation and circumstances. Some are known to you, some are not unknown to you. So all such circumstances, those are unknown to you, are those abnormal situations or abnormalities. How you tackle it, that is called as life lessons. You learn, you discover, you bring life lessons out of that. And that is what you have to do as a person, as a human being, on Sunday for this particular exam. मुझे मालूम है, my heart and soul lies with the students whom I have trained for the whole 1 complete year for this particular exam. Day and night, all together, writing mocks, playing arguments with those people on different issues, and then discussing the right and wrong within that. But telling you very frankly, sometimes you will find something else comes in the paper, and at that point of time you may have certain elements in your mind that would come out with an understanding कि मैंने ये तो पढ़ा ही नहीं था, जब मैंने ये पढ़ा ही नहीं था तो मैं क्या करूँगा. तो उस जगह पर you need to only think that wisdom is the key. All that you study and you forget then, आप जितना कुछ पढ़ते और फिर जो भूल जाते उसके बाद whatever you attempt as a person, as an intellect, keeping your mind, your wisdom on the paper is how somebody has to be in that situation. ये लाइफ की एक रैंडम सिचुएशन है. We all know that we have a paper, but we do not know what questions that we are going to attempt. So it is a very random situation for every one of us. And those people who are going to win, they have at least one thing common in them, that they don't want to give a single second of that 2 hours of time that they have planned for the exam. Because this exam is not just an exam. It is the valuation and evaluation of all that you have done for the last 365 days. 5 sections आपको करने हैं. You know that very frankly. Try to move little faster in the paper. I would tell you that this is 2 hours of paper and you have to solve 5 different sections, having 5 different inclined thoughts in 5 different sections. This is not an easy game. I would say this is one of the toughest exam, at least at this point of time, when the pattern of the paper is such. Alright, so try to keep little faster in the paper. आपको थोड़ा सा फास्ट रहना पड़ेगा पेपर में, थोड़ा सा फास्ट. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि you are going to spoil your accuracy. If you feel that your accuracy is getting hampered, then come down with speed. Otherwise, try to keep yourself little faster. Sometimes you may not find this idea that, oh my God, I have completed the paper, but I have left some questions which could have solved just in 5 minutes of time. So to see the paper is the ultimate goal when you go for a paper. पूरा पेपर एक बार देखना जरूरी है, ठीक है, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए. You have to see the paper from the front to the end. पूरा पेपर आपको देखना है. बिना पेपर देखे आप पेपर हल नहीं करना. जस्ट हैव ए लुक ऑफ द पेपर. एक पेज फटाफट पलट के आपको पूरा पेपर देख लेना है. and then you need to have that 360-degree of idea in your mind that this is what I'm supposed to do in the next 2 hours of time. So accordingly, you are able to manipulate your time with respect to the different sections that you are supposed to solve, whether it is English or logical reasoning, I mean critical reasoning, or GK or legal reasoning or mathematics. You are able to evaluate your time along with the पेपर दैट यू आर सपोज टू सॉल्व. हर व्यक्ति का पेपर अटेम्प्ट करने का अपना एक आइडिया होगा. दो वी टीच एंड वी bring that idea to the people, to the students, and we try to collect views out of the students and then to find out what could be the best possible way of attempting the paper. आपने जो अपनी स्ट्रेटेजी बना ली अब तक सो फार, ट्राई टू बी विद दैट. आई एम 100% श्योर वो 100% कारगर होगी. पर फिर भी यदि आपको लगता है कि थोड़ा सा मेरे को इसमें इनपुट चाहिए, तो मैं आपको यही बोलूँगा कि देयर आर 2 sections दैट आर गोइंग टू डिसाइड. द एंड गेम इज गोइंग टू बी डिसाइडेड बाय 2 major sections. एक आपका जीके विच यू नो, ठीक है. तो जीके को करने में बहुत ज़्यादा ना तो टाइम लगना चाहिए और ना तो बहुत फास्ट करना है. डेटा मिस नहीं होना चाहिए रीड करते समय. ट्राई टू कीप लिटिल फास्टर व्हेन इट कम्स टू जीके. Try to attempt the first section as GK and try to keep it done within 10 to 12 minutes, not beyond 12 minutes. At max 15 minutes हो जाता, because if you know, you know. If you do not know, you do not know. So while leaving the questions, you should not be hesitating too much or putting lot of time to recall as to what could be the possible answer for this. Do not make any hit and trial on this. Just if you know the answer, mark it. If you do not know, go. Leave it. So within 12 to 15 minutes, you have to leave this particular section so that you can move on to the next section. आपको इस पूरे पेपर में 3 सेक्शन बहुत अच्छे करने होंगे. वो 3 सेक्शन आप अपने हिसाब से चूज कर सकते हैं. आपने चूज कर ही लिए होंगे. I believe that lot many people, in fact 100% of all the aspirants do have an inclination towards legal reasoning. करते ही हैं, तो ये सेक्शन आपके लिए प्रोमिनेंट होना चाहिए. तो करंट अफेयर्स, लीगल रीजनिंग. आउट ऑफ इंग्लिश एंड क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग, आई वुड से क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग आपको बेटर रिजल्ट दे सकते हैं. इफ यू ट्राई टू कीप एन आई on the last year and last to last year's paper, you will find critical reasoning was absolutely very easy. Absolutely. So it will definitely give you a better result. So try to keep all the questions being solved in the paper when it comes to critical reasoning. Right? एंड इंग्लिश में मुझे पता है कि 1-2 पैसेजेस यदि आप किसी वजह से छोड़ भी देते हो, टाइम मैच नहीं हो पाया, तो चलेगा. बट डू नॉट लीव द क्वेश्चंस ऑफ क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग. दे आर एक्चुअली very easy. They are by default, they are going to be easy because of the fact that they know that the content of the paper is too much of passages with too much of passages. So they will try to keep the level of critical reasoning at a lower side, which I believe. And English, definitely at the cost of 1 passage, if you are able to solve some easy questions on mathematics and you are able to solve 15 to 16 questions, if the section of mathematics is of 17 to 18 questions, then attempting 14-15 questions would be very good. क्योंकि मैथ्स में यदि आपका आंसर एग्जैक्टली आया तो सही है, यदि आगे पीछे जरा सा भी आ रहा है ना, तो कभी आप बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट अपने आप को देकर उसको मार्क मत करना. प्लीज डू नॉट एवर ट्राई टू मार्क ऑल सच क्वेश्चंस which you think that are correct because of the fact that when you solved, you got your answer very much close to them or close to that. Do not. Only when your answer absolutely lies and absolutely concurrent with the answer given in the option, then only you go for it. Otherwise, leave them. Doing 10 to 15 questions, 10 to 12 questions, 10 questions would be a good attempt in this particular exam. And try to be with your heart when you write the sections, in fact, right? Because there are lot many permutation and combinations which people may come out with. If I ask you, you may have your own pattern of writing the paper. Do not dilute it. Go for it. If you ask me, yes, GK, legal reasoning, and I will try to keep critical reasoning at the 3rd place, not English. But some people are absolutely very good at English. There are so many people. So for them, if they want to keep English on the 3rd, they can do so. But the people who worked hard to bring English as a major subject, try to keep it at the 4th. So try to go with current affairs, I mean the GK section, then legal section, and of course the critical reasoning. and then keep your English. And within that, if you find that you are going to have less time for maths, and since you have seen the paper and you know that similar kind of things that you have already done, so you would like to attempt English paper, maybe at a cost of one passage you can do so. मैथ्स करते समय दो बातों को याद रखना आप, यदि आपने उस तरह का पैटर्न ना पहले कभी किया ना पहले कभी देखा, then do not waste your time doing them. और यदि आपको लगता है that yes I have done the similar kind of questions lot many times, then do not hesitate in attempting those questions. आप बिल्कुल भी hesitate ना करें, strongly आप मैथ्स के पेपर को सॉल्व करें. I am 100% sure maybe the paper of mathematics section sometimes doesn't look very organized, क्योंकि लास्ट ईयर का पेपर का पैटर्न देखेंगे तो उसमें जो क्वेश्चंस थे जो पैसेज फॉर्म में थे वो बहुत ज़्यादा ऑर्गेनाइज नहीं थे, राइट. पैसेज फॉर्म में लिख दिया उन्होंने किसी को जमाया नहीं था, सिर्फ नॉर्मल पैसेज के फॉर्म में लिख दिया. सो इट वाज लुकिंग एट इट्स फेस वैल्यू दैट इट हैज़ too much of data into it, but when you look at it and when you read it, you will find out, oh my god, they are adding one to the another and thereby making a sense, and it is very obvious when you go to the last point you are able to find out what has to be done with that question. तो ऐसे आपके लिए बहुत इजी हो जाएगा, ठीक है ना. तो किसी भी सवाल को फेस वैल्यू पर आपको नहीं छोड़ना है. ओनली व्हेन यू रियलाइज फ्रॉम विद इन योर हार्ट दैट यस मैंने ऐसा कभी कोई किया ही नहीं है, सो आई हैव नो अदर वे other than leaving this question, only then you have to leave that, otherwise don't do that, ठीक है ना. So the major part of writing this particular exam is you need to be little faster in the exam. थोड़ा सा आपको फास्ट रहना है, नंबर वन. नंबर टू, पेपर को सॉल्व करते वक्त अपने सेक्शन अपने सीक्वेंस को आपको डिस्टर्ब नहीं करना है. ईदर यू हैव मेड योर सीक्वेंस, या तो आपने अपने सीक्वेंस को पूरी तरीके से बना लिया है, और यदि आपने सीक्वेंस नहीं बनाया तो यू शुड प्लान इट मच बिफोर द एग्जाम कि मैं इसी सीक्वेंस को मैं पेपर को दूंगा. बट आई एम टेलिंग यू देयर कुड नॉट बी ऑलवेज ए ब्लू प्रिंट. समटाइम्स द प्लान गोज आउट ऑफ ट्रैक एट द वेरी फर्स्ट मोमेंट, एंड दैट इज द टेस्ट ऑफ योर एंजाइटी, दैट इज द टेस्ट ऑफ योर एंड्योरेंस, दैट इज द टेस्ट ऑफ योर यू नो सेंस ऑफ राइटिंग दैट पेपर. तो आपको एंजाइटी में नहीं जाना है. तो हो सकता है कि आपने जैसी प्लान बनाया दैट आई विल गो फॉर first of all current affairs, then legal reasoning, then critical reasoning, then English and then maths. but जैसे आपने पेपर उठाया और आपको लगा oh my god, मैंने करंट अफेयर्स तो पहले अटेम्प्ट करने का सोचा था, मैं अभी भी करूंगा, मैंने लीगल रीजनिंग भी जैसा सोचा था, बट वो इतना बड़ा आ गया कि इट इज डेफिनेटली गोइंग टू कंज्यूम लॉट ऑफ माई टाइम. तो यू कैन एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम ट्रांसलेट, चेंज a different strategy within that moment. You need to react very fast within that time, and do not hesitate in reacting in that situation, under that situation, because definitely everybody, whosoever that person would be, you would always come 20% down when it comes to writing a paper, right? Because there would not be any confidence. Nobody at that point of time would be giving you any confidence, because you are alone. Being being solitary, being lonely is the worst thing that could happen to anybody's life. But उस examination hall के अंदर you are the family for yourself. So try to give yourself power frequently that yes I can do it, I can do it. आपको ना 2 sections करने के बाद ये पता चल जाएगा कि आप competition में कितने दूर आ गए हो, right? As soon as you solve 2 sections, you will get an inbuilt trust getting magnified 300-400% within a second. सिर्फ 2 sections. यदि आपने वो 2 सेक्शंस पार कर लिए, तीसरे सेक्शंस अपने आप होता चला जाता है. तो पहले 2 सेक्शंस अपने जो भी आप लोगे, इट हैज टू बी, आई मीन nobody can challenge you. It should be of that level that nobody in the entire world can challenge you on those 2 sections. You need to be little fast within that attempt, and after 2 sections your confidence level is absolutely going to high. तो 3rd section अपने आप होगा. जो खराब करने वाला सेक्शन होता है ना, वो तीसरा होता है यूजुअली, क्योंकि 2 सेक्शन के बाद इंसान को ये पता लगता है कि यार मैं बाउंड्री तक आ गया हूं, यार मैं बाउंड्री क्रॉस करके अंदर आ चुका हूं. ठीक है, यदि मैं बाउंड्री क्रॉस करके अंदर आ चुका हूं, देन एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम यू वुड गेट लॉट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस. लेकिन यदि आपको लगता है कि नहीं मैं बाउंड्री से पीछे चल रहा हूं, तो 3rd सेक्शन बहुत डिसाइडिंग सेक्शन हो जाता है. ओके, तो आई डोंट वांट यू टू बी एटलीस्ट ऑन द बाउंड्री. I want you to get inside the boundary. Because if you are not within the boundary, or if you're on the edge of the boundary, at that point of time, you would automatically create a pressure on yourself. And that would either disturb the third section. So try to keep yourself little faster in the paper so that they can move ahead, come within the boundary. And third section, as soon as you start attempting the third section, you would immediately get a confidence that yes, I can do it. Okay. And fourth section is either going to support the fifth section, or the fourth section is going to spoil the fifth section, और द फोर्थ सेक्शन इज गोइंग टू बिल्ड द पेपर, बिल्ड द कॉम्पिटिशन. दो सेक्शन अच्छे हो गए, तीसरा भी आपने पार कर लिया. अब फोर्थ सेक्शन में आपको ये डिसाइड करना है कि पूरा फोर्थ सेक्शन करना है. कई बार शॉर्ट ऑफ टाइम होगा तो मेरे को क्या फोर्थ सेक्शन के कॉम्पेंसेशन में मैं फिफ्थ सेक्शन को अच्छा कर सकता हूँ. डू आई हैव दैट कैलिबर? ओनली देन यू हैव टू स्विच ऑन, अदरवाइज नॉट. इफ यू बिलीव दैट फोर्थ सेक्शन इज नाउ गोइंग टू बी हैंडल्ड प्रॉपरली एंड फिफ्थ सेक्शन के लिए मेरे पास ज्यादा टाइम नहीं बचेगा, तो ट्राई टू सॉल्व दोज इजी क्वेश्चंस ऑफ द फिफ्थ सेक्शन which you know that you are able to solve it at a very first instance. Otherwise, you can make a little strategy on the fourth section, try to compensate and go for the fifth section and get more marks. That could be a possibility. But within the first three sections, there should not be any shifting of strategy unless the paper demands at that situation that you need to make a strategic change. Otherwise, do not make any strategic change in the first three sections. Right? I know that this particular examination has certain boundary. Believe me, it has a certain boundary. It will not go beyond that boundary unless the current affair comes. मतलब कुछ भी रैंडम आ जाए, आउट ऑफ ब्लू कुछ आ जाए, वो हो सकता है. But I believe that this particular exam is not of that kind, wherein the students are going to, fail to understand what is the ambit of the paper, as to how I can make myself comfortable with the first three sections. I know that you already have managed that criteria of being comfortable with the first three sections. And then hopefully at the fourth section, you can make certain strategic preparations that could, without spoiling the fourth section, we are able to handle the fifth section as well. Right? This is what I believe that somebody has to do. Believe me, in this particular exam, मैं अपने बच्चों को हमेशा बोलता हूं कि जीके इतनी ताबड़तोड़ होनी चाहिए आपकी कि वो एग्जामिनर आपको कहीं से भी पूछे, आपको बनना चाहिए. कहीं से भी पूछे, जीके की कोई बाउंड्री नहीं होती. एग्जामिनर आपको बियॉन्ड बाउंड्री भी पूछता है तो आपको आना चाहिए. एंड दैट इज ओनली पॉसिबल व्हेन यू हैव मेड एन एग्जॉस्टिव स्टडी. यू मस्ट नॉट हैव स्टिक्ड टू ओनली वन पर्टिकुलर चैनल और साइट और मॉड्यूल और मटेरियल. यू मस्ट हैव, I would say, encroached every other element that is present in the market. If you have done that, no, I'm telling you that you are done for this exam. You are absolutely prepared yourself. Now you have made for yourself. किसी भी एक मटेरियल को भगवान कभी मत मानो, कभी मत मानो. Because all those are prepared by an institution only. Try to attempt, try to read, try to solve, try to make your preparation out of diversified amount of material that are available in the market. Try to bring lot of preparations, diversity and challenge in your preparations. That I always believe and I have done that to the students. Moreover, सबसे important चीज होती है कि स्टूडेंट इस बात पे बिलीव करे. तो यदि आपने वैसी प्रिपरेशन की तो आपको डरने की जरूरत नहीं. पर यदि आपने नहीं किया और किसी प्रकार से, किसी रीजन से आप चूक भी गए, दैट इज ऑल्सो नॉट गोइंग टू मेक एनी डिफरेंस. ठीक है ना, बहुत ज्यादा. प्रोवाइडेड दैट यू कीप दैट कॉन्फिडेंस विद इन योर माइंड दैट यस, मैं इसको सॉल्व कर लूंगा. ठीक है. सो बी ऑन टाइम इन द एग्जामिनेशन सेंटर, बी विथ ऑल दोज एलिमेंट्स विच आर रिक्वायर्ड टू राइट दिस एग्जाम, बी लिटिल फास्टर while solving the paper. Okay, do not indulge yourself in talking to the invigilator, questioning the invigilator, putting any kind of doubt or trying to get anything with respect to this exam from the invigilator. You and paper, that's it. You need not to waste a single second of your with anybody in that examination hall. और सबसे important बात, आपको डिजिटल वॉच लेके नहीं जाना है. इट इज नॉट एट ऑल रिक्वायर्ड. आपसे निकलवा लेंगे. तो जो नॉर्मल वॉच होती है, यू कैन सी दैट आई हैव राइट नाउ इन माई वेस्ट, ऐसा एक नॉर्मल वॉच लेके आपको जाना है सो दैट यू विल बी एबल टू वॉच टाइम प्रॉपरली. और उसका जो टिकटॉक वाला काम है ना, वो बहुत ज़्यादा बजना नहीं चाहिए, अदरवाइज वो दिमाग में बहुत ज़्यादा टेंशन क्रिएट करता है. उसका जो सेकंड वाला जो डायल है ना, इट हैज़ टू बी वेरी साइलेंटली वर्किंग. ऐसा कोई डायल वाला घड़ी आप रखना ताकि उसकी आवाज़ आपको सुनाई नहीं पड़े. ओनली व्हेन यू थिंक दैट यू वांट टू सी द टाइम, तब आप हाथ में देख रहे हो घड़ी को. अदरवाइज इट शुड नॉट बी डिस्टर्बिंग यू एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. ऐसा कुछ प्लान करके जाना तो ज़्यादा बेटर रहेगा आपके लिए, बिकॉज यू नीड टू हैव एटलीस्ट दैट पीस ऑफ माइंड व्हेन इट कम्स टू राइटिंग दैट पेपर, एंड दिस इज ऑल वेरी वेरी मच रिक्वायर्ड फॉर दिस एग्जाम्स. ठीक है, एंड बी लिटिल टाइम. If some people stay little further from the examination center, you have to come little early. और यदि आपके शहर के सारे सेंटर्स एक ही रूट में हैं, तो आई एम श्योर कि वहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा भीड़ भाड़ होने वाला है, रास्ता जाम हो जाता है. तो इट इज़ बेटर दैट आप थोड़ा सा टाइम पे जाए और थोड़ा जल्दी निकल जाए. और छोटे व्हीकल्स लेकर जाएंगे तो ज़्यादा बेटर होगा, बड़े व्हीकल्स ना ले जाए. यदि ऐसे रास्ते हैं बहुत बड़ा भीड़ भाड़ वाला है, तो बड़े व्हीकल्स को निकलना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है. ट्राई टू कीप ए स्मॉल व्हीकल सो दैट यू कैन रीच ऑन टाइम प्रॉपरली, है ना, विदाउट एनी फेल, एंड यू आर एबल टू मेक द बेस्ट आउट ऑफ दिस एग्जाम्स. सो ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट टू ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स. मेक द बेस्ट आउट ऑफ दिस opportunity. Rise and shine. May God bless you. All the very best. Thank you so much. Bye bye.